So Garuda Indonesia has just lost its Skytrax 5-star rating. Yeah, I know. It's an interesting story, born from a Dutch airline, banned at one point by the EU, and then over the years working its way up to the prestigious level of having a Skytrax 5-star rating. So why has it slipped down from a 5-star rating? Do these ratings even matter? What's the Garuda experience like on board, and does it deserve to still be a 5-star airline? Or a 4-star airline? Or, well, something else? In the mid-2000s, Indonesia's aviation industry had a serious safety problem. A series of accidents raised international concern, and in 2007, the European Union took the drastic step of banning all Indonesian airlines, including the national carrier Garuda Indonesia, from flying into Europe. But that ban became a turning point for Garuda. They launched a sweeping transformation program called Quantum Leap, modernising their fleet, overhauling safety procedures, and rebuilding their international reputation, so much so that by 2015, Garuda Indonesia was awarded 5-star airline status by Skytrax. But they're not 5-star anymore. So what happened? How did an airline go from being banned to being top class, then losing that top class status? And now we're on board our Garuda Indonesia A330 heading across to Bali. Now you can probably tell it's dark outside. This flight leaves Melbourne and goes across to Bali at 7 o'clock in the morning, so it's quite an early start if you're getting this one. First thoughts though, really comfortable seat, very much a fan of the herringbone design where every seat on the window side off the business class cabin is actually facing towards the window and kind of away from the other passengers, so it's good particularly if you're travelling on your own, to get a little bit of privacy from everybody else. I've got a little amenity kit which we'll go through in a second, a bottle of water here. We were also served a welcome drink when we did sit down. You get a hot towel as well. I also took a quick look through the food menu as well to see what we'd get this morning. Now it's a pretty quick flight today heading across to Indonesia. Well, quick for people who live in Australia, it's just under 6 hours to get across to the island of Bali this morning. So I think there's one food service that they're going to do, which is a quick breakfast service. I'll show you what that's like. But once we get on our way, I'll give you a tour of the seat, show you what the food's like, and yeah, show you what this business class experience on Garuda is actually really like now that they've only got 4 stars.
If evacuation is required, follow crew member instructions.
Whenever you see an airline saying that they're 5-star rated or that they have the best business class in the world, it's usually based on a rating that comes from a company called Skytrax. But who are Skytrax? Well, they're a UK company founded back in 1989, originally as an aviation research company focusing on the passenger experience. But 10 years after launching in 1999, they decided to launch their World Airline and Airport Star Rating program. As the years went on, this gained momentum, and over time, they ended up building one of the largest global airline review and survey systems in the world, collecting feedback from millions of travellers each year to produce their annual ratings and awards. And whilst they're not a regulator, they have no power of change, they just act as an independent organisation, their rankings still carry real weight. Airlines actively market their Skytrax stars and awards because that influences customer perception, especially for premium travellers. So whether you agree with them or not, in the airline world, a Skytrax rating can shape reputation. So when Skytrax makes announcements like stating that Garuda has now dropped from a 5 to a 4-star airline, announcements like this can potentially have quite a big impact on the airline itself. Did you know that Garuda Indonesia was actually founded from Dutch airline KLM? It was actually back in the late 1940s when Indonesia gained its independence from the Dutch. And KLM previously had been operating the airline service in Indonesia, with the new Indonesian airline actually starting off with a single DC-3 aircraft. Now there's a fun story behind this. I won't go into too much detail, but basically the people of Indonesia funded the purchase of that DC-3 to set up Indonesia's first national airline. And that DC-3 had the registration R001. It was the first registered aircraft in Indonesia, and it still exists today. You can still see it in a cultural theme park that exists in Jakarta. Sadly, I'm not going there on this trip, but that's definitely an aircraft that I'd like to see in the future. And once the new airline was set up, obviously Indonesia needed a name for it, and the name Garuda actually comes from the Hindu religion. Garuda was, it's a Hindu deity, basically, the winged traveller and protector, and that's why Garuda has got the logo of basically the wings. Let me see if I can find it. This one. And that's why the Garuda logo, it's this basically, it's the winged god, the Hindu winged god, the protector and traveller. Let's see what's in this. Inside our amenity kit, what have we got? A pair of slippers,
toothbrush. There's a little pouch of, what have we got in here? Hand and body lotion, face mist, you can use that in a second. And a little lip balm in there as well. Also, earplugs. Oh yes, and actually these little foldable comb things, I love these. Little eye mask as well. And what's this? This is actually really cool. There are 4 stickers here. And what you can do is you can stick the sticker that's relevant to you on top of your seat. So if you don't want to be disturbed, if you want to be woken up for food, woken up to go shopping. And I think, is this last one woken up for prayers? Just to put some context around the whole Skytrax ranking system, it was 2014 when Garuda was announced as a 5-star airline, and that put it in pretty prestigious company with other airlines like ANA, JAL, Singapore Airlines, Cathay Pacific, Hainan, Eva Air, Qatar Airways, and even Starlux, which has quite recently become a 5-star airline despite the fact it's only been operating for 5 years now. And the reason Skytrax gave for demoting Garuda from a 5 to a 4-star airline is just that the products and services on the ground and in the air was starting to fall behind some of their other airlines, so it wasn't really sitting as a 5-star airline anymore. So whilst 4 stars is quite clearly a whole star less than 5 stars, is being a 4-star airline really a big deal for someone like Garuda? Well, I don't necessarily think so, especially when you look at some of the other airlines that Skytrax also rank as 4-star airlines, like for example Qantas. They're a Skytrax 4-star airline, so is Fiji Airways, so is Virgin Australia. Air New Zealand is also a Skytrax 4-star airline. And when you look at those airlines, they all have a pretty decent international and domestic operation. They all have a relatively good business and economy class product. They all have pretty good lounge access on the ground in many destinations across Australia and New Zealand as well. So whilst Garuda Indonesia is no longer mixing in the lofty heights with the likes of Qatar and Singapore Airlines, they're still holding pretty good company down there. They're still holding good company as a 4-star airline nonetheless. Breakfast has just arrived. Got a nice little plate of fruits, another little bowl of fruits, bread, a glass of water here, and because Jack, I think, has got a mimosa, I got myself a tomato juice with vodka and a pot of jam as well. I was just thinking to myself, it really is one of life's little luxuries to have warm bread at 32,000 feet in a big comfortable seat of your own here in business class. I mean, air travel's come a long way since the early 1940s when they were flying DC-3s around in Indonesia. All right, let's see what Jack's got.
And on the main menu, I've got some scrambled eggs that have been freshly cooked, some beans, some potatoes, some spinach, and some mushrooms, plated really beautifully.
I am very happy with my main breakfast course now. For those of you that don't know, I'm vegan, so I eat a plant-based meal every time I'm on board a plane, and this one looks great. I've got these portobello mushrooms with this nice crispy, crunchy topping on it, baked beans, tomato, spinach. Still got my giant bowl of fruit. I haven't really made much of a dent in that one. Let me give you a quick tour of the seat here. The first thing you might have noticed when we were boarding that's different to some other business class that you might have flown in the past is no sash belt. This one just has a lap seat belt that goes across you, but it's one of those which has got the airbag built into it. And if you've not flown with that, it's a little bit bulky. It's like having this big sort of cushion sitting on your lap. You get used to it pretty quickly in the flight. But when you first sit down, you wonder why your seatbelt's so bulky. It's because there's actually an airbag built in there, which is actually quite clever. All your literature here, the amenities kit we've already looked at, bottle of water. I've just discovered this actually. Didn't know that was there before. Oh, of course. That's where all your charging ports are. Normal laptop power. You've got the output for the headset, which I will discover in a second. I think that's probably in here. And only USB-A charging by the looks of it. Then a second little storage thing here, which is where you've got the control for your in-flight entertainment system. And that's it. That's all that's in there. Then just to the right of me, there's a little digital control panel, which is quite neat. Allows me to control various positions of the seat. There's a little reading light as well. on your side as well. I haven't actually put this up yet. Oh, this is where your headset is. Headset down here on the left-hand side. I actually thought this raised up and down. It does. So you've got a nice little armrest as well. That's quite clever to put the headset in there as well. And then for the in-flight entertainment screen in your tray table in front of you, tray table's got 2 positions. First of all here, and then down here. And obviously you can open it up when you're eating as well. And as for the in-flight entertainment screen, well, it's not the largest one, I will be honest, and it's relatively basic. Got a kind of Windows 95 feel about it. It's only a relatively short flight as well, so I mean, how many movies can you watch on a 6-hour flight? But I will do what I usually do and just leave it on the moving map. Where are we now? Oh, coming up to Alice Springs. So I've just been kind of relaxing in my seat for the last hour or so. There's been a little bit of weather out to the right hand side of the aircraft. You can see on the moving map we've made a few deviations to get around there, but it's clearing up a bit now and it looks like it should be a pretty good straight shot into Bali. But as I was relaxing in this seat, it did make me think about why I like this business class seat compared to some other business class seats that I've sat in. And the main reason for that is some seats, like the Qantas one for example, doesn't just go backwards when you recline it. It actually moves forwards and then goes backwards. The design of this one is slightly different, and if you want to recline the seat, it'll actually recline straight away. You don't always want to put the seat into its fully flat position. Sometimes you just want a little bit of recline, just so it's a little bit more comfortable when you're watching TV. It's nice on this aircraft that you can do that without actually having it push you any further forwards towards the TV.
This trip, we're only flying to Indonesia with Garuda. We're not actually flying home with them. So we're not going to get to be able to take a look at their lounge in either Denpasar or Jakarta, which admittedly is a bit of a shame because it's these lounges that seem to get a fairly consistently bad rap from travellers. And I did wonder if the quality of these lounges did actually contribute to that deduction of a star on their Skytrax ranking. If you are flying Garuda Indonesia from Melbourne in business class, you do get access to the Mandapa lounge at Tullamarine Airport, which I have shown on this channel before, and it's a pretty comfortable place to relax before a flight. However, if you are a One World frequent flyer and you are used to the Qantas lounges, then you will notice a fair difference in terms of the food, the quality, the seating, and just generally the whole lounge experience between the Mandapa lounge and what you would get with Qantas. But the flights from Melbourne to Bali generally leave early in the morning. Ours was a 7 a.m. departure, and therefore I don't think it's really that important to have lounge access before what is basically just a 5 to 6 hour flight. And secondly, if you are flying from Melbourne to Bali, with Qantas you're going to get a Boeing 737, and if you're flying in business class that means you get a 2-2 configuration with the domestic style business class seats. If you fly Garuda, yeah, you might not have as nice a lounge to access before the flight, but once you're on the flight you get a fully flat bed in a 1-2-1 configuration, because you can generally find a cheaper price on Garuda Indonesia than you can with Qantas on an equivalent flight. And just based on the experience that we had on the flight today, I would honestly struggle to find reasons why I wouldn't choose Garuda Indonesia over Qantas the next time I need to fly between Australia and Indonesia.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just landed at the Gusti Ngurah Rai International Airport in Mangupura, Badung. Welcome to Denpasar, Bali. Warm welcome home for Indonesia, and for visitors, welcome to Indonesia.
So did Garuda Indonesia deserve to lose its 5-star Skytrax rating? Is it now actually a 4-star airline? Well, to be honest with you, I think it's all quite subjective. You might look at Skytrax and you might see some 5-star airlines that you actually think are more like 4-star. And conversely, you might see some 4-star airlines like Garuda and go, no, actually, they are a 5-star airline. It really comes down to your own personal experience. And for me, the experience today was really, really comfortable. I really liked that business class seat. The food was excellent. The staff were really nice. And to be honest, they got us here on time on a really nice aircraft. And now we get to spend a couple of days here in Bali. So from my perspective, the whole flight experience that I had today, yeah, I wouldn't really do anything different. I would say it was a 5-star experience. If you're new here, do consider subscribing. If you want to see more airline content like this in the future, give us a like if you enjoyed this video. Otherwise, thank you very much as always for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next flight.